Hey guys, Lizardlea here for Nergigante from Monster Hunter by Even Starcrafts on Etsy. Gigantic? Nergigante? I don't know. It looks like a whale's tail and just splash. But I think that's just the pattern. I think this is like actually maybe it's his mustache. Like these are his eyes and he's like on fire. I have no idea, you guys. I don't know. Let's find out.
Okay, we're back. Well, I say we're back. David's not here. It's just me. I'm talking weird. I'm just gonna get to the questions. I don't know what's happening. 213. What naps are the most satisfying? For me, it's generally the unplanned ones. Like if I just, if I'm watching something and then I fall asleep, I usually feel very well rested when I finally do wake up. Versus if I am really tired and I'm trying to take a nap, it's always really difficult for me to either A, fall asleep, or B, wake up. And so it ends up becoming more of, I'm actually going to sleep for 8 hours. I'm not just taking a nap. And then, that the first one, I don't get any rest because I don't actually fall asleep. And the second one, I wake up and it's like I've lost my entire day, and then I'm going to be up for a really long time because I slept for too long, but I'm not good at staying up when the sun is down. So yeah, the best ones are the ones that I don't plan, because in my experience at least, generally when I fall asleep during the day, it is usually just a nap, and it isn't for very long. Like when I'm sick, that doesn't count because, I can sleep for, like 18 hours or whatever. And that's definitely not a nap. Okay, 214. What's the weirdest thing you found lying on the ground / side of the road? Honestly, nothing is coming to mind. I know I found someone's, I don't remember if it was a credit card or a debit card. It's been so many years. But I found one of the two on the ground when I was at college. And I picked it up and I took it to the Lost and Found because I was like, yeah, like there are cameras in this building, so I trust that, the wrong person is not going to get it here. And I don't want to, like, chop it up because I know it can be very difficult to get a new card. And, it's not like it had a phone number attached to it, so I couldn't call them. How did I get on that? The weirdest thing. Oh, I mean, it isn't really weird, though, because that, on a college campus where you buy food and whatnot, that is going to be a place where you pull out your wallet. So it is a place where it could fall from your wallet, So, I don't know. The weirdest thing found on the ground. And, like, generally, most things don't stay in my long-term memory for that. Like, just random things I found on the ground. Like the credit card one, that stood out for me because I was like, I am going to do what I hope someone else does for me if I'm in the same situation. I would hope that if they found my card, they would go and have it returned. Or have it shredded. I am generally in a fine enough financial situation that I'm able to wait, the 2 weeks or whatever to get my new card in the mail. Also, I mean, COVID hasn't been great, but a lot of companies are very good about doing everything online now. I don't have to pull out my credit card except for at home a lot of times lately, which is really nice. Like, I mean, I'm a homebody. I'm shy. I am an introvert, so I would not say I have suffered as much as the average person during COVID. Like, if you get all the people who did not catch COVID, all the people who did not have, family members or close friends catch COVID, I would still say on average I've handled this much better. Just because it wasn't a huge change for me. I am shy, so I don't go out often. And then COVID just was like, I have asthma, and I already have, like, not as good lung capacity as most people. I don't want to catch COVID and either die or have my lung capacity permanently lowered. So it was even more of a like, okay, I'm just gonna order everything online and not have any contact. Like, if they come by, they'll drop it off. I'll wait a minute. I will still come out with my mask on. I'll bring my food in, and there will be no interaction, and there's no issues. So, yeah. And I have David. I mean, he still has to go into work, but, when we're both off the clock, we're both home generally. So it's not like I'm alone 100% of the time. I will say, if we had a cat or a dog, that would probably be nice. But we are both allergic, so it's not a good idea. Like, neither of us could give either of those animals as much attention as they deserve. Because, I mean, like with Tessa, she loved attention, and she was a short hair, and I would give her way more attention than I should have for my health. But I took a Claritin every single day. Like, every morning, Claritin. And that did help. I only have to take a Claritin, on really bad days, or on days when I go see my family or David's family. Because his mom has a cat, his dad has a dog, and my sister has 2 cats now, actually. And my parents have 2 cats. So, anytime we go to see family, Claritin. And then every once in a while, my allergies start to act up and I'll be sneezing. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a Claritin. And it's just really nice to have one less pill to take every single day, I mean, I've been taking daily medication since, God, when did I start my asthma court? I want to say that was 1st grade. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I started taking asthma court in 1st grade. I started taking Flovent in 7th grade. And it wasn't until I started going to college that I started, like, kind of weaning myself off of the Flovent. I still take it, but I do not do 2 puffs twice a day. I do 1 puff, like, once or twice a week. And I will say, there was a while, like, I went without using it for, like, a month, and my asthma started acting up really badly, where I was like, okay, yeah, no, I can't handle not being on the Flovent. But I don't have to take it as often as I am prescribed. Now, I will tell you guys, please don't do that without speaking to your doctor. I did tell my doctor, like, yeah, like, I'm taking less of it, and they're like, oh, okay. And they kept telling me they were going to lower the dosage, and it didn't happen. So I was just like, it's okay. Like, I have had asthma my entire life. So I know what signs to look out for myself. I know how to take care of myself. If I ever die from an asthma attack, y'all, it was murder. I'm just saying right now. Okay, it may not necessarily be murder, but the chances are very unlikely, so long as I can continue to use my Flovent and have my albuterol for emergencies as needed. Because I know what to look out for. Like, as soon as my chest starts to hurt and it starts to feel tight, I'm like, okay, I'm going to use my albuterol now. I've had it for so long that I know how to handle it. And I will say that confidence does help me, because when I was not confident about my asthma, I would have an asthma attack and I'd be freaking out. And as you can imagine, when you are having a very difficult time breathing and you start having a panic attack, that makes it infinitely worse. So the fact that I can remain calm when I can feel that I'm having a very hard time breathing really helps. I am so sorry, you guys. I got completely off track. I don't even. What was the question? Lying on the ground. Okay, no, we're done with that question. I have no idea what I find on the ground. I don't know. 215. What's the funniest TV show you've ever seen? Ooh. What is the funniest TV show I've ever seen? I remember Friends being really funny. I remember Fresh Prince of Bel-Air being really funny. I still haven't seen Seinfeld or How I Met Your Mother. And honestly, for either of those, I'm not really interested. I haven't seen The Office, which I do kind of want to see one day. There's so many that I have not seen that I know are going to be on the list. I'm going to Google funniest TV shows. Oops, if I knew how to spell TV shows. There's a space in between those two words. Okay, let's see. What to watch? Oh, let's see. Dave, never heard of it. The Owl House, never heard of it. Rick and Morty, not interested. I don't like that art style. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, I don't recognize these. I don't know. I think this is just like current stuff. I'm gonna go to an article. Let's see. Published March 2020. Yeah, I think that's recent enough. I think that's okay. Oh, it's in opposite order though. I don't want to go through 55. Let's just scroll all the way down and see what the top like 10 are. Oh my gosh, it's taking so long. This article is gigantic. This is ridiculous. Okay, so number 1 is Cheers. That was before my time. I didn't see it. Well, actually, no, I guess it wasn't before my time. 1982 to 1993. I mean, yeah, 2 years old when it was over. It was before my time. News radio. I think I've heard of that, but I know nothing about it. Don't know. Seinfeld, I know it's, the show about nothing. It does not intrigue me. I've seen bits and pieces here. Nothing. Veep. Ended in 2019. Never heard of it. I don't know. 30 Rock. Is that the one with Liz Lemon? Yep, Liz Lemon. I have heard of this one. I was called Liz Lemon by a couple people in high school. I don't know if it was because we're similar or if just because, my name is also Liz. And I don't know. Maybe it's a compliment. But it's Tina Fey, so I mean, she's gorgeous. I'll take it as a compliment, whatever. But yeah, I haven't seen it. I do want to. I've heard good things about it. Oh, Parks and Recreation. That's another one. Haven't seen it. Another one that I want to. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's a really funny show that I have seen. Let's see. The Mary Tyler Moore Show. Haven't seen it. Golden Girls. Haven't seen it. I know a lot about it for anybody that's like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen Golden Girls. Please note, before you hate on me for any of this, that, stuff that I haven't seen, I grew up in the military. In a military family, excuse me. I was never in the military. My dad was. And all we had available was AFN, which is the Armed Forces Network. And maybe it's expanded over the years, but back in my day, it was like 6 channels. One of them was, AFN Movies. And one of them was AFN TV. And AFN News. And AFN Sports. So there was not a lot of opportunity to see much, because the other channels were always in different languages. So I did not watch those. I watched a lot of SpongeBob, because SpongeBob was available. Okay, what is this next one? Atlanta. I don't know that one. 2016 to present. Oh, it's still current. The Dick Van Dyke Show. I do love him. He is amazing. Particularly in Mary Poppins. The Office. That's another one I haven't seen, but I want to. Better Things. I don't know that one. Okay, I'm going to go to 15. We're on 13 right now. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I've heard good things. Still haven't seen it, though. Friends is number 14. Okay, I've gotten on there. And 15 is I Love Lucy. Didn't see I Love Lucy. Know a lot about it, though. Like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of those were very popular. I just, didn't have the chance. And now it's like, do I want to watch a funny show that everyone says I'm gonna like, or do I want to watch this anime that I know I'm gonna love? Like, I like comedies, don't get me wrong. Clue is still my favorite movie to this day. But I don't think I would ever say comedy is my favorite genre for anything. Books, movies, no. TV shows, comedies are generally not my favorite. I tend to prefer fantasy, adventure, romance. So, there are just other things I would rather be watching. I'm sorry. 216. What's the most embarrassing story from your childhood? Oh, I have told so many of those. I need to think of one I haven't told you guys. Let's see. So I've told you guys about the Christmas tree. And the Christmas tree cookie, rather. I've told you guys about the couple of different times I've choked on something. What else? I know I've told you guys about how I wrote my name on the wall and blamed my little brother, and then my parents were like, oh no, he's a baby, and then I blamed the cat. Although, that's the thing, like, at the time, these, moments were humiliating. Well, the Christmas tree one wasn't, because I didn't realize what I'd said. But the other ones, it was humiliating. But now I look back, I'm like, this is hilarious. I want to tell the whole world this. Like, everyone should know how stupid I was as a child. Yeah, there isn't a ton, at least from my childhood, that I look back on and I'm still embarrassed about. There are things from my adulthood or my, my teenage years where I'm like, oh man, that was embarrassing. I can't believe, like, I'm so ashamed of myself. But my childhood, I don't know. Do I have another one that was embarrassing? I don't know. I think that's like all that I've got. I don't know. 217. What animal is the most majestic? Eagles fly majestically, but weasels don't get caught in jet engines. I don't know if that is a worldwide thing or if that was... Gosh, was that AFN radio? I remember when we were in Japan, if we listened to the radio in the car every once in a while, that would be said, during the commercials. And my whole family, we got such a kick out of it. It was so funny. Because, it's true. Eagles do fly majestically. However, weasels don't get caught in jet engines. Okay, but honestly, I think I would have to go with one of those show horses. I don't know if that's the correct term for them, but it's one of those, like, gigantic stallions. Like, it looks like it's bigger than 3 men, maybe 5 men. I don't know. In my head, I don't remember how tall they were in comparison to the people next to them, but, like, huge horses. And they always have, like, the most shiny coats and really, really long manes and tails, and I think a lot of them would also have the fur by their hooves as well, and they're so gorgeous. And, they just trot along, and they're just so gorgeous. I wonder if there's, like, I wonder if I can just do, like, majestic horse into Google. What will come up? Oh, man, these horses and their hair, their manes, it's gorgeous. Yeah. Cats are my favorite, but I think I have to go with... Oh, that's devoted. I'm gonna get the phone. Okay, I'm back. David is heading home from work, and we're gonna try and go grocery shopping. Grocery shopping. I don't know how to speak English. So I'm gonna keep doing narration. Hopefully I finish before he gets here. Or maybe hopefully not, because then when we get back from grocery shopping, he can do some narration with me. We'll see. I don't know how long it's going to take, so. I stand by horses being the most majestic, though. 218. What's something that everyone knows is true, but we don't like to admit it? That the truth hurts? I don't know. I don't know. I don't like these kinds of questions. 219. What's the weirdest text or email you've gotten? I mean, I've gotten, emails and text messages from someone thinking I'm someone else a lot. And, I mean, the ones that are the weirdest to me are the ones who are like, hi, Emily, are you able to work tomorrow from blah, blah, blah to blah, blah, blah? Because I'm just like, is this like a brand new employee that you have their wrong phone number? Because the phone number that I have had this phone number for over a decade now. So, it's not like, oh, maybe I got someone else's old phone number. It's mine. And it has been for a very long time. And so I always try to respond to those with a, sorry, you have the wrong number. Because I know if I were in that position and they didn't respond ever, I would just be like, man, Emily cannot be relied on. You know what I mean? Versus this way, they can be like, oh, crap. Did I write the phone number down wrong? Did I put it into my phone wrong? Oh, I did. I put a 7 instead of a 2 or something, So, I don't think that's weird, though. Weirdest text. I know every once in a while I've gotten one that's just like a URL. And I'm like, that's probably a virus. Block, delete. Because I just, not going to chance it. I will say my work email, or at least the accounting team work email, has gotten some emails that are like, they aren't clearly, spam or phishing, but if you look into it, you'll realize it is. Like the from email, so we'll just do this. The email from will say lizardlea@yahoo.com. But then if you were to hit the reply to, it'll say the email to is, I don't know, lizardlea@gmail.com. Or, even at Yahoo. Like, it'll instead of being LEA, it'll be LEE. Some of them will be so close. Like, there was one that I want to say the from email was, at interface.com. And the response to was intraface.com. So if you really look for it, you'll see the difference. But if you're just skimming really quickly, you won't see it. So you won't realize that although the email, it was originally from was legitimate, the email you're responding to is fraudulent. And we got a couple from that, like it was interface or intraface, something similar to that. We got a couple, and I Googled it, and a lot of companies were discussing that this particular one, they got a lot of spam emails using them for the from, but it wasn't the to. I don't know if this is making any sense. If you guys know how to use email, you know what I'm talking about. It's difficult to just explain it without being able to show you. But those ones are always, whew. But the best part is, so like we're the accounting team, so we get all of the bills. And a lot of these fraudulent ones will just be like, we sent you this bill 2 weeks ago and it's a week overdue. When can we expect payment? Or my favorite ones where it's like, attached below is the invoice. Because it's like, oh, there's no attachment. But even if there was, I wouldn't click on it. Because this is fraudulent and it would probably have a virus on it. So, I don't know if those are necessarily weird, but they're the ones that stand out. Because I'm just like, really? I hate you people. Drives me crazy. Okay. 220. What always cheers you up when you think about it? Cross-stitching cheers me up. Watching TV cheers me up. Hanging out with David or my family cheers me up. Like, there's a lot of stuff that, Generally, it makes me happy. I guess it says always. You know, David has been known to annoy me. My family has been known to annoy me, so I guess I can't say always. But cross-stitching has been known to annoy me before. When you get one of those knots in the back that you just cannot get out, that is so frustrating. I'd say Tessa, but sometimes it makes me sad to think about her. So, I got nothing, you guys. I got nothing. 221. What sport could you play the longest in a televised game without anyone discovering you aren't a professional athlete? I think badminton would be the only one I could put on there. And I'm not necessarily that great either. Like, it's just the one I've put the most time and effort into across my life. Well, actually, I guess I did put more time and effort into gymnastics, but that was when I was even younger. So there's, even less that I can do. Like, badminton, in comparison to gymnastics, is super duper easy. Like, gymnastics, not so easy. Not so easy. But, like, I am not a professional athlete by any means. Like, I was not on any sports teams in high school or middle school or anything. I was only in NHS because I was a nerd. So, I think everyone would be able to pick me out immediately. Just saying. 222. If you could talk to animals and they would understand you, but you couldn't understand them, what would you do with that power? I don't know, become a trainer? Because at the very least, I could just be like, you need to lay down. You need to roll over. Like, they would know what I'm saying. I wouldn't need to show them what to do or anything. I could be an animal whisperer, minus the part where I don't know what's wrong with them. I don't know what they have to say. So, I don't know, maybe I could become a vet? But the issue is, I still would not know what's wrong with them. Like, if a cat came in and they were clearly in pain, I wouldn't just be able to be like, show me where it hurts. Like, they could, like, expose their tummy if it's their tummy that hurts, but, what part of their tummy? They don't have as malleable fingers as we do. I don't know if malleable, that's not the correct term I want. They don't have, they can't point, basically. Like, they have their paws, but they wouldn't be able to point, at exactly this one spot. I would just have the general idea that it's their stomach. But I feel like most vets are pretty good at finding out where the pain is, just from watching the animal move, or from, gently holding them, moving their paws, prodding at their stomach, and seeing how they react. So, at the very least, this way I could just be like, okay, we're gonna have to knock you out for a little while. You're gonna be asleep for the next hour. You're gonna wake up. You're gonna be really confused, but you're gonna feel better, okay? So just stay calm. I know your mommy's not here right now. She will be there when you wake up. I promise. And honestly, I bet that kind of reassurance would go really far. Because I know every time I've had to go to the doctor, like, I've never had an emergency surgery. I don't think I've ever had any surgery. So, it's not that bad, but it's still nice to have someone there with you. And someone who understands what you're going through and who you can talk to. Versus, I've never seen, okay, most animals are terrified of going to the vet. So, if there was someone there that they could understand exactly why they are there and what's happening, that could be really reassuring, and that could go really far, and that would just be really nice. I love animals, so I would love if I could understand them, or if they could understand me 100%. That would be awesome. 223. What's the most boring sport, and what would you do to make it more exciting? Um, golf is really boring. Mini golf is super fun, though. I don't know how to make golf more exciting. I have no idea. I don't know, like, honestly, you guys, most sports are super boring to me. Not into football, not into basketball, I'm not into baseball, like, it's not my jam. So, I love gymnastics. I think that takes a level of skill and confidence and discipline that's just mind-blowing to me. Oh, there's David. He might be here. I'm back, and David is also here now.
Yay.
All right, handsome man, what's the most boring sport, and what would you do to make it more exciting?
Golf contact.
Oh my god, I also said golf, but I didn't know how to make it more exciting, and you made it a contact sport. Are they gonna beat each other with the clubs? Like, someone's gonna die. Those things are metal.
You can wear pads.
Have you seen what football does to people?
Fine.
Even with all of that padding, rugby is safer, and there's no padding. Like, yes, if you look into it, the injuries from football are harsher and worse.
Because they wear padding.
Yeah, because they wear padding. If they would just do rugby instead, it would be better.
Well, never mind. Yeah, okay.
Or it's because Americans are dumb, you know. It's whatever. It's whatever. Okay, 224. What's the creepiest tech out there? I don't know, Facebook. It's connected to everything, right?
Yeah, that's up there, definitely. Any sort of, like, massive...
I mean, I guess, like...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what websites are out there, but, like, I'm sure there are plenty out there that are super creepy. I don't know about them, and I kind of want to keep it that way, because I don't want to be involved in that shady stuff. 225. Who did you used to look up to, but they screwed up and you lost faith in them?
Well, I mean, I feel like Bill Cosby is the obvious answer to this.
I never looked up to him.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, so full disclosure here. Yeah, and you have to listen to the whole story before you judge me, because my feelings have changed. When I first learned that Robin Williams killed himself, I was incredibly disappointed, and I was very upset with him, and I was very angry about it, and I was so annoyed, and I was just disheartened, and it was really bad, and I blamed him. And then I grew up, and then I learned some things, and I realized that suicide should not have that kind of reaction. Like, we, as a society, generally when someone comes forward and says that they're having dark thoughts like that, most people are like, oh, well, get over it. You know, like, oh, find something you like. And that is not always going to be the answer. But I also, when I did my research, at least back then, I learned that his medication was making it worse. Wasn't it? It was making his suicidal thoughts worse.
Yeah.
And, or
the disease he has causes...
his depression and just everything, it just compounded. And I regret feeling that way. I mean, I know he has since passed, so I hope, you know, like, his spirit or whatever didn't feel any of that negativity, and I especially know that I was not the only one who felt that way. But I was disillusioned by him for a very long time, and I was super upset. And now I look back and I'm just like, I feel so horrible for how we as a society treat others in general, but honestly, especially famous people. Like, I mean, heck, look at what's going on with Britney Spears right now. Her mental breakdown, you know, back in the day when she shaved her head and everything, it was because people wouldn't leave her alone. She had just had a baby. There's a strong chance she had postpartum depression. I've met women who have had postpartum depression, and it's not good. I can't even imagine what it would have been like for them had they been going through that and also been hounded by paparazzi 24/7. I am also in the camp of like, okay, yes, Britney Spears is famous. She made the choice to be famous. You have the right to take pictures of her. You know what you don't have the right to do? Take pictures of her babies, of her children, of her grown children. They could be in their 20s right now, and I still think you should leave them alone. Unless someone makes the choice to put themselves in the spotlight and they want to be famous, you should not be able to take pictures of them. I think that any famous person should be able to go out to the mall, to the movies with their kids, with their family, and not be bothered. I think that's just common decency. They should not have to close a zoo in order to go see the animals with their children. Like back when Michael Jackson tried to take his kids to the zoo and they had to just be completely surrounded by bodyguards. Mm-hmm. I have since learned he was told by the zoo that the zoo was going to be closed. So he was not expecting to have a ton of other people there. Mm-hmm. It was going to be a good experience for him and his kids. But they lied, and the public was there. And of course the kids didn't really get to enjoy it. They had to look through, 50 bodyguards. And I don't think that's right. I think everybody should be able to go out with their family and enjoy themselves. Sorry, what were you going to say?
We pretty much covered most of it, so yeah. We're good.
Yeah. I don't really know how I got on that subject. I have very strong opinions.
Really?
I always thought growing up, being famous could be fun, but the downsides are just really, really bad, and they've gotten worse. Mm-hmm. It's even worse than it used to be. Like, I'm really happy that Britney Spears' fans are coming out from everywhere and helping her with this. I don't think we'd be able to do that were we to not have the internet. And so, that's a plus, but with the internet, yeah, everybody is taking pictures of famous people and selling them everywhere, and it's just, there are ups and there are downs. But my faith is back for Robin Williams. I look back on his movies fondly, I look back on him fondly, and I just feel horrible about what happened with him.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Who did you used to look up to, but they screwed you? They screwed up and you lost faith in them. Because mine was kind of like a hill.
I don't have a whole lot of...
I mean, it doesn't have to be a famous person.
Well, no, I don't generally look up to people like that in general. I feel it's kind of weird how much we...
I never idolized Robin Williams. I wasn't like, oh, I want to be like him. That was someone who came to mind who I was like, yeah, I thought of, if he was a 9 out of 10 on my thoughts for him, he went way down. So I guess I kind of went out of the scope of the question. You can do the same, or you can continue what you were saying and I can shut up.
Uh-huh.
Love you.
No, I feel it's weird how people idolize and react to celebrities in general.
I agree with that.
As you were giving me crap in the car for recently, don't particularly care about musicians themselves. Either I like your music or you don't. I don't care who you are, what you did, what you look like, what you made. I don't, as you are well aware, don't often even know who made the song, even if I like it. And yet people like to, oh my gosh, I love this band, and they did this, and they did that. And I think it's weird that we expect people who are incredibly specialized in their talents, which is usually what makes them famous, to be well-rounded individuals. It's nice when it works out that way. There are people who are famous because they were nice individuals, like, oh my god, I can't think of his name, Bob Ross and Mr. Rogers, and they seem to have held up to scrutiny, and that, while they may have one or two blemishes in their life of they're not perfect human beings every second of the day, they seem to have walked the walk, to go with the talking. But yeah, a lot of these famous people are famous because they're good at something, and that something is not being a good person, it's
being a good actor.
Or,
being
performer.
A good painter.
Or,
yeah.
So, with all that said, I didn't really idolize a ton. As I was growing up, I kind of realized, I liked Robin Williams as an actor. I liked a lot of his roles because I had a tape of him when I was a kid, so I grew up exposed to him really young and thought it was neat when I kind of connected the dots that, that's that person. I remember one of the big ones was, Groucho Marx was really interesting to me, which is not someone anyone's going to mention because he was dead by the time I was born. He's a 1920s actor, comedian, vaudevillian, him and the Marx Brothers. But I read a book by him, a biography of him, towards the end of his life, and it was just kind of interesting that, not a bad person necessarily, but he was certainly like, I think he had like an incredibly young wife. Like he was in his 60s and she was 20 or something. It was like, yeah, you're not a perfect person. And just, I guess that's kind of the one thing that came to mind when you asked that question was that. And even though I still, didn't think that this person was a perfect person, again, I don't like to idolize people because I think you have to recognize that they're people.
Yeah, they're human.
So if you're idolizing them, you're probably giving them more credit than they're due.
Oh, yeah.
I am impressed by, I guess...
Putting anyone up on a pedestal is a terrible idea.
If you were just looking at like, oh wow, they used to be so good at something and now they aren't. It's like just idolizing their
Neil
talent.
Armstrong? No, wait, no. Who was the bicyclist?
Lance Armstrong.
Lance
That's
Armstrong.
probably a pretty common one, but I didn't care about him.
I didn't either.
I wasn't surprised.
I just remember yep, he was doing drugs all along. Surprise, surprise.
So was everyone else, yeah. Like the top.
Yeah, but he still crushed them, didn't he?
I think so, yeah. There's a whole...
I don't know.
It's a whole nasty thing. But that still comes down more to him being a bad person than his skill. I'm more talking like... I don't know my musicians, but like, some musician that everyone loves because they're really good, but then they just kind of phone it in for... Like, I guess Kanye would probably be a topical answer. But I don't know if he's still a good... Like, I don't know from John if he's still considered a good singer or if it's just that he's personality-wise went off the cliff. But I'm trying to think of I can think of a bunch of nerdy ones that no one's gonna know because they're just circles. But like, people who are like, oh yeah, you made a really cool thing, and oh.
Now you're a sellout?
Not even a sellout, just like, turns out you're not nearly as good at this as you think you are. So, you didn't sell out, but your next attempt at this same thing is not nearly as good because you're just overconfident and arrogant now. Because your first one was successful, and it turns out you didn't really learn what didn't work the first time. So, yeah.
I would like to take a moment to defend myself. You made it sound like I was judging you for not knowing a musician as a person outside of music, which I don't give a crap about that. Like, I know Freddie Mercury had cats. That's about the extent of it for me. And it's not because I went out to look and learn that. I just found out at some point. I was judging you because you didn't know who Prince was, okay? You didn't know any of his music, you had never heard of the band, and that was really, really ridiculous,
it's a band? I thought
okay?
it was a person.
It's his title of it's the artist.
Okay.
Like Garth Brooks, yes, that is his name, but that is also the band name.
Okay.
So, yeah. I was not judging you as harshly as you make out to be. Or at least not as meanly. I don't know.
It was absolutely mean. You just feel it's justified.
Yeah, you bad dance. You stupid.
See?
226!
Witnesses!
We have had this conversation. They all know you did not know who Prince was, okay? 226. What's fine in small numbers, but terrifying in large numbers? Bugs.
Kittens.
No, they're not
Really?
terrifying.
What if 4 million kittens were rampaging around the house?
I would die from happiness.
Okay, well, I tried.
I mean, I would also probably die from allergies, but I mean, like, that would be so cute. I would just be crying. Kittens can't hurt you. I mean, I guess the bugs can't hurt me either, but I'm gonna freak out way more over 50 cockroaches in the house than I will over 50 kittens. Fine. What else is fine in small numbers?
Snakes.
Paper cuts. I can deal with like one or two, but if there were a large number of paper cuts on me, I would die.
Snakes.
I agree with that. Yeah. I guess like crabs. Hippos. Well, no, even one hippo would be terrifying. That's not true.
Bears.
Not even a small number of bears. Nope. A single bear I would die. I think that gets it enough.
Yeah.
227. Do you like things to be carefully planned, or do you prefer to just go with the flow? My preference is for things to be planned, but I'm okay with just going with the flow. Like, I do not freak out and have a meltdown if things are spontaneous.
Sorry, what was that again?
Do you like things to be carefully planned, or do you prefer to just go with the flow?
Go with the flow.
I was about to say, like, you're always like, play it by ear. Let's play it by ear. We'll play it by ear.
I've watched so many people.
We only have like 2 minutes.
I don't like when people plan and aren't good at planning.
Oh, I agree.
And I especially don't like when people plan something that doesn't need to be planned, or in many cases spend more time planning than doing the thing that they want to do. And then they complain because they don't have enough time to get things done. And it's, no, you had plenty of time, but because you were incapable of acting on your own decisions without having it all written down in front of you, you have now wasted time writing down what any other person could have just done.
Yeah.
I have strong views on this.
I'm generally a good planner, so I don't have that problem. Like, I'm just like, A, B, C, D, let's go. And now we're at the end of the video. Yay!
And that is the end of Nergigante from Monster Hunter by Even Starcrafts on Etsy. You said it was pronounced Nergigante.
I did.
I'm pretty sure that's one of the ways I pronounced it at the beginning of the video.
That's correct.
I think. So it's a weird horned thing. It's not a whale's tail, and he doesn't have an awesome mustache. He has weird horn things.
He has a baller mustache.
Also, I mean, the shape of that is like the mustache that you would on your way to getting it to be the evil twirling one.
Yes, the evil twirling one.
Yeah. Well, the one that curls and whatever. David said it's like an angry cat, so I was like, he's all poofed up. But he's green. He's an icky green at that. Like, just bleh. Like, they chose gross greens for these green guys. I think I liked the female. No, she's kind of a gross green too. This is
Raytheon.
Raytheon, that was her name. I was thinking Rathalos, and I was like, no, that's the red guy. I have only 2 more.
Hooray!
I'm so excited.
You just can't hide it.
No, I can hide it because I'm really tired right now.
Are you?
Did I say how long it took me?
No.
I don't think I did. I got 6 hours and 44 minutes of footage. I'm really tired. I had a really late start. I woke up and I wasn't feeling great. And I was like, you know what, screw that, I'm going to go on a walk. And then I got back and I was like, it's really hot and I'm all sweaty and gross. So I took a really early shower. And I was like, I'm feeling kind of better. And then I started stitching. And by that point, it was like, I don't remember, 9, 10 o'clock?
It was a clock.
It was later. You were still asleep. You don't know.
I might know.
You don't know.
I could know. Maybe that's what I was dreaming about, what time it was.
That doesn't mean you'll know what the time actually is, David.
But I could be right.
No, you couldn't be. That's just, no. Yes, even a broken clock is correct 2 times a day. That's
Now, if you rip its
nice.
arms off.
You're really mean. I thought you were going to be like, well, not in military time. And I was going to be like, yep, then it's only correct 1 time a day. But,
You can break
ripping
clocks
its
by just ripping
arms
the
off. Okay, that's very mean.
I'll teach that clock.
Although, I mean, you have to break them off entirely, because if you only break off, like, the tips, you can still figure out, because it's still pointing in the
Well,
correct
yeah, you just have
direction.
to rip them off completely.
This has been completely derailed. I have nothing else to add that is relevant to Monster Hunter, so like, subscribe, share, comment, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys next video.